Hello and welcome to Saved by the Bell, the Bel-Air After Show. On this week's episode, we are talking about Season 2, Episode 6, May the Best Man Win. And this was a reunion-focused show. The show does what it does, right? Where it will create an event, and then all the drama will circle around this event, right? It seems to be a sort of trend with this show, is like it likes to have events and then have the drama circle around events. So last week was the art show. Other events, other episodes have been other events. But instead of me starting with what I think is we'd like to talk about, I want to throw it to you guys. What do you want to talk about first? Will's storyline, Carlton's storyline, Phil's storyline, Hill's storyline? Storyline do you want to go on first?
I don't know. Let's start with the big one. Let's start with Uncle Phil. What he had going on this
It's funny.
episode.
I was about to say the same thing.
Yeah,
It's all about Uncle Phil, and it's his family, so makes
yeah.
sense, right?
Okay, well, this was the Uncle Phil-centric episode, right? Because it all revolved around the family reunion, his family's reunion. So we got to see, more about who his family is, right? We got to see his brother, his mother, and all the uncles and cousins and nephews and nieces. I mean, this guy has a big family on his side. And so they hosted a big old family reunion at their house. And, I don't come from a large family, right? I've never experienced a family reunion just because I didn't have a big family. So I can't relate to what is going on in the episode from a sense like, oh yeah, family reunions, that's how those are, right? I don't get that, feeling or sense, but it definitely feels like this is a very competition heavy family reunion. And I've seen family reunions at Disney World and stuff like that. So I know that they exist and they happen. What did you guys think of the overall family reunion sort of aesthetic and storyline here? Did it seem believable to you? Did it seem contrived? Can you relate to a family reunion type event like this?
So I would say, the trope of that brotherly competition at family reunions, that is something I haven't seen too much in person. Usually family reunions are just everyone's happy to see each other, good energy. So, but I would say that doesn't happen too much in person from my experience. But I won't fault the show for that because that is a very common, especially in a lot of urban media, that's a very common trope. There's the brothers are competing. There's a movie called Johnson's Family Vacation, which is a classic, which this movie reminded me a lot, not this movie, but this episode reminded me a lot of because it's all about the older brother, little brother rivalry and trying to be the best and trying to get mom's approval and whatnot. So definitely a classic trope, which is why I will say I did enjoy this episode a lot. I know it was a filler and not too much moved the story for it, but I always enjoy a good little side adventure when everyone's just having fun, everyone's kind of together, and this was good vibes. So I did like this episode. I did like that it was a friend reunion. And speaking of the big family, I gotta shout out my man Amar, who played Phil's nephew, so his brother's son. That got real close with Carlton. I went to performing arts camp with him way back in the day. So yeah, so to see him pop up, I sent him a message. He actually responded. He's like, "Bro, much love." But yeah, seeing him pop up, I was like, "Yo, no way, my man's Amar is on the show." So, and he did a good job. So definitely want to give props to him, like Nolan did when he saw his friend on there the episode ago. But yeah. I definitely can relate. Family reunions are definitely lit. They don't happen too much. Maybe every 5 years, I want to say, if that is when they do a family reunion. It's not something that's kind of annual, but it's definitely good to see everyone come together. Yeah, because people come from all over. Usually it's a lot of planning behind it. So yeah, but this I don't know. I like this episode, and I think Phil's storyline. Phil kind of got highlighted. His not his cons, but kind of his personality flaws kind of got highlighted. And at least they kind of got called out this episode, which was cool. So, but yeah, I definitely enjoyed the storyline.
It's too bad your connection with that guy couldn't, hook you up with a guest appearance. But yo, dog, I'll be Phil's sister's sixth cousin, twice removed on mother's side.
Hey, yo, where's things?
Oh my god, right? I should have hit him up. It's funny, he posted a picture of himself with his shirt, so they let everyone keep the shirt. He was like, "Yeah, Bake's family reunion." I was like, "Oh, that's cool."
Yeah, that's cool.
Oh my
God. How about you, Bala? Any
I
family
was gonna,
reunion
um,
experience?
yeah. First and foremost, I gotta say, yo, Gyasi, your performing cast definitely has some talented people. If they got on shows like Bel-Air, hands down.
Yeah, man. That's no DMV. That's the DMV excellence.
DMV, all we have is greatness. No, but with the Uncle Phil storyline, I definitely think it did a good job of highlighting what kind of formated Uncle Phil's character, and not only his competitive, how it kind of affects his children, say Carlton, Ashley, and how each part of them is kind of highlighted through the whole Banks family, just like Black history with that one uncle grandfather being Tuskegee Airman. You got Phil's mom and Aunt Haley have heart, and you can see at the core of like even though Uncle Phil went to college, how it kind of affected each of his like both his immediate family and the larger family at hand. Even Jeffrey, in a sense, kind of like I think it did a good job ultimately handling kind of that underlying like having the topic of underlying like toxic black masculinity, how it kind of passed out to children in the case of Carlton and
Yeah.
nephew, but also just like how black families, no matter good or bad, is kind of just how we have this interconnected of showing that kind of positivity. Like Jossie said, black family reunions, especially, are a big part of like black media. You see Sunday family dinners, huge family reunions like Poetic Justice. That scene where like Tupac comes in like cousin, he don't know anyone, but he was just like, yo, free food. Like you're black, so you're gonna have a cousin somewhere. I think it's just stuff like this is kind of rewarding because it's just like in a show that's full of drama, it's nice to have kind of a little a breath reliever,
Yeah,
even though
that's
it's
what I
like
thought too.
exactly, even though it's like 10 episodes, it's something that's kind of needed. And it's nice seeing other aspects of Uncle Phil, despite the like whole father figure, rich uncle kind of okay, well I say ghost type personality. You get to see a little more of his flaws at forefront, especially in an episode where you get to see him like play football, get his ass kicked at football, and just like doing anything to win, just because it's just like family pride in a lie.
Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely saw Phil as being a much more competitive person in this episode than we have in previous episodes, or at least it's come out more, in here.
Yeah, and it's just like you always see Uncle Phil as like the father or just the like patriarchal figure. So it's nice to see him as just a brother or cousin or just like, just a man just having fun,
Yeah,
not the suit and ties.
yeah, and I mean, like you said, this was sort of a breather episode, if you will, compared to other more serious episodes. There was obviously some hints at stronger, more serious elements of the story. Obviously, we had a bit of that Carlton and Phil dynamic, where again, Carlton is kind of feeling that inferiority complex, right? Feeling like he's not good enough, and that's reflected in the son of Phil's brother, his cousin. Both of them are kind of we're I would say bonding on that, and we saw, of course, Will try to get with Carlton and talk about the founders scholarship, whatever founders club thing, whatever it's called, and I'm glad we didn't have like a crazy breakdown, Carlton crying, doing drugs in the middle of the family reunion, making a scene of himself. Like, I'm glad that didn't happen in this episode, and the writers didn't choose to go that way. They kept things light and mostly friendly with everybody. Um, but we did learn quite a lot this episode, regardless of it being a little bit lighter in nature, with regard to overall Phil's relationship with his brother and I would say, family rivalry that started when they were kids, right? We saw where Phil's sort of competitive spirit comes from, right? Which he's probably imbued into his children, I would have to say.
Oh yeah. And it's kind of like I loved how that contrast between Carlton and his cousin as well as Uncle Phil and his brothers, like how you could see they're both been affected by their fathers for good or bad, and how that competitive spirit kind of carried through the sons, and just kind of that whole new theme of just overcoming family. I forget the specific word, but just overcoming family trauma and breaking the generational curse, so on and so forth, in those conversations.
Yeah. What'd you all think of that scene where they're playing video games together? It was very brief, but were you like,
It was
did
wholesome.
you at all that they didn't use the real Mortal Kombat? They used some like fake Mortal Kombat game.
Wait, who was playing? Who was playing the games together?
It was Carlton and the cousin, like at the
Oh,
end of
okay,
that cover.
okay,
Yeah,
yeah, I
yeah,
remember
yeah.
that. Yeah, yeah, I thought it was cool. I thought it was cool to see them bond. I thought it was really hilarious. Like looking back, that like all of Uncle Phil's family just threw him not under the bus, but like went against him. Like ended up going against him throughout the episode. Like um Carlton didn't like purposely miss the catch. He purposely missed the catch. Hillary didn't vote for her own recipe. They were like so sick of his like his BS that
Competitive
they were
bullshit.
yeah, they were like, nah, we're just gonna they were like, we're gonna, make he gonna learn a lesson. I thought that was fun. And I really did enjoy the scene when Uncle Phil and then his brother like got the ice packs and they're like, man, we're not as young as we used to be. And then like they mentioned they had that heart to heart where it's like and I kind of felt the older brother, not that I can relate, but it was just like I felt what he was saying when he was like throughout the episode he has this confidence where he's like, nah, college, that's Phil's thing. He was like, I'm proof that you don't need that to, be successful. And like he comes across like that kind of arrogant or like just kind of talking down to Phil, but then he tells him that like he would even give an opportunity. Like no one looked at him as someone who could be successful, so he kind of had to work extra harder to prove everyone wrong because Phil was the smart one, Phil was the one with the opportunity. So I like that they recontextualized kind of the earlier episode. That was probably my favorite scene when they were just bonding as brothers.
Oh, 100%. I like that kind of moment. It's just like, damn, you get the weight of all your parents' expectations on you, and you can see the different
Yeah,
ways it affects you, and kind of how that
yeah,
carried on to his son. Like he was told, "Oh yeah, you can't go to college. Like only one son could do that. Just like stay in
yeah,
your lane." And you see that, for better or worse, he kind of carried on to his son, whether intentional or not.
yeah. And I think what I like just in terms of like just real life, it's like the fact that Carlton and then his cousin were able to kind of see the flaws that their parents and once you recognize that, you kind of can at least work towards not repeating the sins of the father or having that run off for you. So they were I like that scene when they play video games where they're able to just kind of connect and talk about like I know my dad's like this, always putting pressure on me, so they kind of know they can kind of break that curse because it was hard. And that's why I mean, it makes sense why Carlton dropped the ball because he was like, my dad's gonna get over it. He's not gonna break it up to me after this day, but like he knows that
Yeah.
if they would have lost that game, or yeah, if they would have won that game, then that's something that his cousin was going to hear about for who knows how long. So, I like little things like that.
Very much so.
Life is here till the next reunion. But
Yeah, literally.
Like,
all right,
yeah,
let's just go storyline a little bit here. Will, of course, was mostly just again playing a side character in his own show for the most part in this episode, but he did have a strong connection with Jeffrey this episode, and we learned a lot about Jeffrey's backstory. So I guess let's jump to Jeffrey's story then, since Will kind of catalyzed that. What did we think about the revelations that Jeffrey's son, he left him in, I believe, the UK with his mother. I believe his mother put him up for adoption, but Jeffrey had to get out of the UK because he was kind of hanging with some bad folks, and he had to start his life over in the US. And Phil was the one who basically helped him out with sort of getting his footing on the ground here, and was also keeping tabs on his son, but also not giving him the information about his son, which he asked him not to give him. So learned a lot about Jeffrey and his backstory, and I think we suspected Jeffrey had something going on, right? He was definitely, we thought maybe like SAS or special forces or something crazy like that, but he was in a gang in the UK, right? So what do we think about the revelations about Jeffrey's backstory, and do we think we're gonna see a little bit of his son later on in the season?
I think we're definitely gonna see his son later on because number one, they casted an actor for the son. So and it's a known actor too. I'm almost positive anyone watches
Doom
Doom Patrol,
Patrol,
which is a great show on HBO
Jovian
Max, the
Wade.
cyborg actor. Yeah, Jovian Wade, they got him. I was like, no way they got this guy to play Jeffrey's son. But so we're definitely gonna see him again. They wouldn't have cast that actor if they wasn't planning on bringing him in. What I will say to give credit to the show, I like how Aunt Viv and Uncle Phil handled the situation based off the ending from last episode where they're like, we got a problem. They see Jeffrey going through stuff looking for files. I thought that was gonna be a problem, like an area of contention for the next meeting, but they handled it like with grace. It was like, we understand, what you're doing, or not what you're doing, but why you're doing it. And this is the way we can help you. We want to give you this update. I really like that approach to it as opposed to the generic upset, angry, and then we get this conversation like 2 episodes later. I like that. They understand Jeffrey. He's not ill intention, and they were able to just be adults and mature about the situation.
Yeah.
Right. Well, they do a good job of not doing the trope of not talking.
Yeah.
And letting things get worse and
Yeah.
Just said something, you could resolve the issue.
Yeah, exactly.
Not just burn the bridge just to burn the bridge after you just got this man back.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's funny because funny thing is I was watching the episode yesterday, and when they pictured Jovian Wade saw it, my sister saw it. Keep in mind, she's never seen Bel-Air. She didn't even know the show was the same. She was like, "Yo, what show is it?" I was like, "Bel-Air." She was like, "Is that Doom Patrol? Got Cyborg?" She was like, "Oh, turn this off. You gotta watch it another time." Because now she's invested in like Bel-Air just off that one picture.
That's hilarious, yo.
I'm saying. So I definitely think Jovian's gonna come on, and knowing him, he's gonna. If I haven't seen Doom Patrol, I recommend it because he's a beautiful part. Like the whole show is beautiful. Brendan Fraser, everything. But Jovian does a great job in playing Cyborg and bringing in some new flesh to this old robot. So I know if he's coming on, it's going to be an interesting twist on Jeffrey's son. And it's definitely going to put everyone through the ringer.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to shake some things up.
Yeah. And it's interesting to see, like,
live in the house with everybody else. Wouldn't that be nice?
That may happen.
Never know.
Did Jeffrey have a son in the original?
Yes, he did. In the original, Jeffrey had a son, but his son was more or less a scammer who basically was wary of his father and didn't trust him until Will and his son had to talk. And then at the series finale, Jeffrey went back to live with his son.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I need to rewatch.
That's what I did first season. So
that's how you were smart. You were smart for doing that, man. I need to binge so I can remember. I know. I love the show. I watch it all the time, but I have little details I need to go back on.
Put ourselves in a room together, lock the door. We don't leave until we finish all 5 seasons. All right.
Yeah, do our homework, man. We gotta do our homework.
Not leaving for 5 days.
Exactly. Well, let's talk a little about Viv's storyline. She had a little bit to do in this episode. Obviously, she has some, little angst with Phil's mom, being, that the mom is kind of, being typical, mother-in-law style overbearing in certain instances, right? Kind of, also judgmental and whatnot, which of course, Viv is dealing with in her own way. But, at the end of the episode, they get in. And they get very much, along with one another and connect on what it is they're dealing with as both women who are married to men and, who are dealing with the faults of those men and kind of working through the various, trials and tribulations that come with marriage, but still persevering and ultimately making for the best relationship possible. Before we answer and talk about Viv's storyline, let's say hello to Nolan. How's it going, Nolan?
Nolan. Thanks for hopping on.
Nolan's in the house. Can you hear us, Nolan?
Yo, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, great. Yeah, what up? Yeah, I'm fresh out the gym. Got the hoodie on, got a little sweat going.
He said,
I said I was gonna be here.
Straight to the podcast. I love that.
I told Dave I was gonna be here right after I got to the crib, so yeah, I am.
Nice. Yeah, I'm actually in a gym in a hotel right now because I'm on a little vacay with the family. So if you hear the echo, that's why. Um, but I'm not doing any workout, just talking to some friends about an episode of Bel-Air. So
Gotcha,
for
gotcha.
context, Nolan, we've already talked about Phil's story a little bit. We've talked about Bill and Jeffrey. So we're getting into Viv right now, and we'll circle back to you and get your thoughts on that stuff when we get back towards the end of the episode. But let's not lose momentum right now.
Yeah.
Ultimately, we talked a little about Viv. She has obviously dealing with the whole family and dealing with Phil's mom and everything, having to pick her up from the airport and do whatever, and she wants to stay in the house. And so you can see the tension there with Viv, not only with having to deal with Phil's family, but also with finding out that Phil is talking to an ex from college, we learn, and all the other things that are going on, and of course the pressures of Phil trying to make everyone in the family win in every single competition, to include spades. So what do we all think of Viv's storyline this episode?
Just like Uncle Phil and the brother, I like how it's kind of just it subverts the whole idea of like black moms and mother-in-law always be at odds with each other, and just you see that bonding moment. I know we brought a great actress in to play Uncle Phil's mom. I forget her name, but she's a huge staple of all like black movies. Friday, the Wayne brothers, on. You know her, you love her. I forget her name, but someone has to find that before the end of the podcast. So seeing her play Cross and Viv was kind of nice. And just instead of having this mom like hating the whole episode, it's just like kind of subverting the fears of, oh, I gotta impress this mom, I gotta do everything right, I'm not getting noticed, like having to be a team player. And then like the mom just come in and say like, I've been there before, I know it's hard. Behind every black man there's a black woman taking the gall and doing all the work and getting none of the credit. So I think this was a nice like change of pace from the usual art story.
Okay.
Yeah. And I believe it was that combo when Uncle Phil's mom was talking about Uncle Phil's dad and how he was usually like a big part of, you know, these family reunions. He got everyone hyped. So it was sad that he had passed away now at this point in the show. But it just kind of reminded me of like, real life, how like, there's those people that, kind of the life of things. So like you gotta remember, make sure you honor your your ancestors and people that came before you, even with, events when you're doing events like that, because you got definitely keep the legacy alive. So I thought I like that they put that scene in there. And they're kind of keeping his legacy going, though, still doing the family reunions, X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna reiterate, something Bala was talking about, where generally you had an in-law and the wife or the husband and her in-laws kind of at odds, and you had that moment when she's like, "Hey, we got plenty of rooms here." Clearly, they do. She's like, "Yeah, you can come stay," and she's like, "Nah, nah, nah, it's all good or whatever." But yeah. I mean, it was definitely a different dynamic. It felt a little bit more genuine, this storyline. With her,
Yeah,
with
definitely.
her bonding with the mom and everything. And I don't know if you were want to touch on Phil and the lawyer, the old lawyer friend or whatnot.
About that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of on Viv's side on this. I mean, I'm also on Phil's side when the paint guy was in the picture too. It's kind of like when you get caught off guard, especially when there's history there. Like,
Yeah.
what are you supposed to think, right? Like, you feel like you of course you want to trust somebody that you're clearly married to, but you also want to trust them to let you know versus you find out on your own, because that's the worst thing that happens in relationships, when you find out something on your own versus your partner telling you what's happening.
Sure.
Yeah, so yeah, I think both of them are valid in their different situations that have come about with their partner kind of getting caught in the mix with somebody else and it being kind of innocent, but from the outside looking in, it doesn't look like that because you didn't get told, ahead of time. You just kind of stumbled upon it. So yeah, I mean, I definitely like how they kind of seems like they iron that out, let bygones be bygones on that. So I did like
Yeah.
that.
Man, Uncle Phil, he does not be wanting to communicate. Like, why she got to find out that on the phone that they have been talking? Like, he should have told her immediately that day when he got home, yo, guess who was actually who stole my client from me? And like, then told her to offer. Like, this man always waits until it's too late or until it's a problem. Like, a simple convo would have
Hey,
fixed
at,
that.
at least we know where Hillary gets it from now, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like,
Yeah.
like father, like daughter.
Like daughter.
We wouldn't have drama if people didn't make obviously silly mistakes, you know. I will say though, as somebody obviously who's married, it's like you can forget things that are obvious to you because you see your spouse so often, and that things that should trigger like that kind of like should trigger something in your brain to be like, I should probably tell my wife about this. Sometimes it's not obvious, or sometimes you're so comfortable with the person because you see them and you're around them all the time that to remember to tell them something like this, it just escapes you, you know. And so I can feel a little bit for Phil, you know, I give him a little sympathy, but yeah, he should have kind of thought that through a little bit. And you know, Viv is perfectly in the right to call him out for not telling him or telling her about, because I know my wife would obviously call me out if I did something stupid.
Yeah.
You would never hear the end of it for a while.
No,
So
absolutely.
I guess that offer was she wants Phil to come work for her. Was that what that conversation was about?
That's why I kind of,
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
I think so.
That's what
Okay.
it read as, to be honest.
Because
Yeah.
I mean, you said, oh, she's going to be part of our life now more.
Okay. So yeah, I remember because like she was like, there's something you can do for me if you want the client back. So I guess she wants Phil. But I'm trying to think, would Phil have to leave his firm and kind of just join hers and kind of be under someone now? I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's what is kind of like the trade-off. You get more cases, but you have to work for your ex-girlfriend, basically.
Okay.
All right, well, let's go ahead and move on to, of course, the most pivotal, important story of the evening, Hillary.
Hey,
Yo, Hillary. Nolan, what's she doing, bro? You gotta get her under control.
bruh.
I was really hoping there'd be more with the social media house this episode. I was really disappointed there.
Oh, really?
Oh my God.
Really now? At least that's one of us.
If they had pivoted to the social media house while I'm watching a family reunion, I would have cried.
I'm crying right now because, like, damn, you have a good black brother with jazz. Trying, like,
Or Nolan, man. Nolan's shaking his head, man.
I see it. I peep it. Nolan's just like, we're going to get a hot Nolan take right.
Nolan, what you got for us, bro?
Man, look. I just don't know. Like they're not making Hillary to be the airhead that she was in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, but they're making her like just oblivious to like reality in this one and like just reading the room, right? Like, and like for me, like it even like, cause so I guess we found out. I think I remember hearing that we found out that it wasn't Hillary did invite the guy over, but I think her parents invited him over for the family reunion.
Yeah.
So like for me, it's kind of like, all right, it's not all the way on Hillary at this point in time, but it's like, doesn't Hillary's parents know that her and Jazz are together for you to be like, oh, Mr. X, like I mean, is Phil that hell bent on trying to win? First off, that threw me off too. Like, how you got an NFL receiver on your flag football team and y'all lost?
I'm saying though, that's pathetic, yo.
like I have gone and played like rec ball like when I went to U of H for a little bit after like playing collegiately, and me being a former collegiate athlete against just regular rec ball people, like I was like a god amongst men. So like I can't even imagine an NFL caliber person against a family. And like for me, I was like, why are they down? They're down? Like that's what I was thinking.
Down
like,
31, like yo, it don't matter if you're down 2 or down like 80. You should not be down at all.
I just could not wrap my head around that just from a sports perspective. But anyway, like I said, I don't want to digress too hard. But yeah, I mean, it's just it didn't make any sense to me like that Hillary is just still missing the bus. Like, what have you heard from Jazz? He's not answering. I don't understand what's like. How do you not understand what's wrong? Like, and then like you clearly trying to hit up Jazz, and you've already told Jazz it's not what you think it is, and then Hill boy comes like, hey, this our song and everything, and you just like, oop, I forgot all about everything I was trying to tell Jazz. Like it just like man, it's like the writing just gets, or maybe that's just the dunce that's Hillary, that's just where she draws comparisons to the original Hillary on things. So it's like I said, it's just getting like really old how she's just this feather floating in the air, just doesn't know really what's going on, just landing here and there until a breeze comes and takes her away to another situation that she created, and she's just oblivious to the creation of it. Like, yeah, man, I just can't lose for winning or win for losing with this Hillary situation. Like it just goes from bad to worse. It feels like every week. First we thought they was gonna be married by now, and now it's like it looks like she about to in 3 episodes be married to this guy. So
Like,
Yeah, we still got, 4 more episodes left to go. So, marriage, divorce, children, all can happen in the next 4 episodes. You never know.
man.
I'm mad. Like, this dude came up to Will, be like, yo, I'm gonna win Hillary back. Like, yo, if I was Will, me personally,
And that's your right hand man, right?
I'm
Like
telling you, bro.
I'm surprised Will didn't stick up for Jazz a little more in that situation.
Right. I'm
I
like,
thought Will was gonna say like, I mean, he's with my homeboy, so he may have to work a little harder or something like that. Like, I don't know.
Like, yo, you like don't cross my man, bro, because you will get paused. You bring West Philly. Well, that at any moment calls for West Philly. Will that moment calls for it, bro?
I feel like I will give it a bit of a doubt. He probably was just caught off guard because he was like kind of stuck. Like, what did this man just say to me? But yeah, I would appreciate a Will Smith. Like, he could have hyped up Jazz. Like, I mean, he dating she's dating one of the best out in Bel-Air right now. So you got some work or something. Like, just hyped up Jazz a little bit. But we didn't get that. So who knows?
Like, I'm not gonna put all on Hillary because I'm not gonna put all on Hillary because she did try to put boundaries and she was caught off guard by Uncle Phil's like dumbass, like, yo, I'm gonna do everything to win, including bringing your ass. Like, to be fair, that would have been a perfect moment for someone to call like Jazz up. That could have been perfect on right there. Jazz seen up front like, oh, this is a competition. Okay, so this is necessary. Like, that would have been the perfect moment, but nah. Instead, we got a text like, hey, yo, I got the door open. Come through later at night. Like, come on now.
I will say a little bit of benefit, not benefit to Hillary, but I think Jazz is being a little immature. Like, you don't just, the way you go about things isn't just to not communicate. I understand he's kind of upset over like the art show, but I mean, that's how your girl gonna get stolen, bro. Like, the guy in here swooping in and he's wiping off her feet. Now, she should be a little more strong-willed than that, but maybe she isn't. But I mean, hey, if he had texted her back, he would have been there. Like, I don't know. I get he's upset, and Jazz is my homeboy, but I don't know. I don't think he's handled it the right way. Like, just not texting back, just ignoring her, because she wanted to feel something. Now she felt something because she got to dance with her ex.
I was gonna say, and the NFL draft too, dog.
Man, that man is thirsty. He was like, I'm doing anything to get Hillary. I'm like, yo, bro.
Like, calm down.
I mean, he can get whoever he wants, right? But I mean,
yeah,
wants his old flame. So okay.
And then the irony, and as soon as she walks off, Jazz finally hits her back. I'm like, man, what kind of popcorn script is this, man?
It's a little better. It's a little better known because I thought Jazz was gonna walk in and see them dancing and then walk back out. I was like, oh, they definitely about to go this route. But I'm glad they didn't do that because I was like, I could see them right, like when Jazz comes in, finally pulls up and he sees them dancing. But yeah. And I will say, I do think Phil was really that hell bent on winning that he did not even consider that, like, maybe I shouldn't invite my her ex-boyfriend. I think he really was like draft pick and then prioritize Jazz's feelings was like way down the list of things he was worried about.
He had a decent alibi in that she did invite him to the art show. So
yeah,
from his perspective, he's fair game, right? It's all good, water under the bridge, right? So
Yeah.
I don't blame him for making that call. But what was the last thing that Jazz wrote on the cell phone? Like, what was that exactly? I kind of missed that last portion.
He told her like come through.
Yeah, he was like,
yeah, well, I
"You can
said
come
like I
later."
had the door.
He left the
open
door
for you.
unlocked or something like yeah.
Yeah,
Like, come over to my house, the door's unlocked. Is that what he said?
yeah,
Basically, she was like, "Can I see you? Like, when are we gonna hang? Or when are we gonna see each other?" And then he finally responded, was like, "You can come to me later. I'll leave the door unlocked."
basically a late
So
night
obviously-
conversation / booty call type text.
So the fallout from that is going to be basically that she didn't go there to his house, and he's like, "Why didn't you come to my house?" Yada yada. So it is the most unrealistic portion of that is that she wouldn't take her cell phone with her. I mean, the social media mogul she is, and she doesn't have her cell phone with her at all times. No,
Yeah, what's going on?
I mean,
we're
to be
seeing-
fair, you heard the song
Come
I
on,
was playing.
You heard the song that was playing.
Like it's the soul line. Like everyone's gonna just drop everything and get down for the soul line.
Of course. All right, well let's talk about the last storyline that was explored here because they gave everybody something to do. Ashley, she made a connection with the old uncle who didn't want to talk from World War II, a red tail, and that was a nice connection there, old and young connecting. Not really too much with regard to story development, but a nice moment, right?
Yeah. And like I said, I like episodes like this, even though it was filler, but it's those moments. I like to see little Ashley being nice and like making sure she was on elder duty to like make sure the elders are good. She's like dietary restrictions, let me make sure everyone's eating what they're supposed to be eating. So it was nice to see her, like you said, have that connection to one of the elders in the room and kind of get him out of his shell because. And I like that they acknowledged him too later in the speech when they were like, we want to acknowledge, who this person is because like, he's been through a lot and he probably was just feeling like, no one's really here to talk to me. No one's showing me in mind. So he's a little grumpy. But, Ashley got him out of shell. And I like that it gave a little bit more, spark to Ashley's character. It gave her a little bit more like personality. So I did enjoy her little, storyline to have her.
I mean, I feel like they still giving Ashley crumbs.
I definitely crumbs, but it was a filler, so I don't blame it. But
I mean, but you saw it coming from a mile away. As soon as like she started talking to him, I was like, "Yep, it's gonna get him to start talking." You knew what it was gonna be, so it was kind of like I mean, I guess when it happened, it was no big surprise for me to be like, "Oh yeah, nice moment and stuff," but nah, I just man, they just really struggling trying to find. Like, I really thought Ashley had her moment when her teacher was going to, had been fired and she was going to join in on the protest, and then she couldn't leave the classroom. They just basically had her just watching from the window. Is what she got reduced to, and it was basically. She's the whole reason behind the teacher getting fired and everything. So it's just like, man, it's like right when you think she about to get
front
something.
and center.
Her storyline, she gets cut off for Will.
Oh man, yeah.
They do need to give her. They need to do a little bit more with her. They like you said, they were leading up to a good storyline for her, a good moment. Like if she would have got up, left the classroom, maybe
right,
a little harder, that would have been a good action moment. But like you said. Just kind of go to the wayside. And I guess, I mean, Will, so what was Will's storyline this episode? Did he really have anything much to do? I guess talking with Jeffrey.
Yeah.
And learning everybody's name and face in like 30 seconds.
This was the episode Will was kind of a side character. Like,
he definitely was.
Yeah.
But he was still important. He was still involved. I mean, he touched on almost everyone else's other storylines.
Yeah.
I don't know why that just made me think about Carlton doing the curls, sweating in the closet, doing the curls when Will walked in on him. He's like, "What are you getting ready for?" He's like, "The flag football game." I'm like, y'all can't be serious right now. Like, I'm thinking that watching. Like, y'all can't be fucking serious with this right now. My man is in a hard down sweat with these 20s, man.
That's about to do 2 days for flag football.
Oh, you know what? You know what we can talk about? Will and his Founders Award and his decision to kind of pursue it. Because I know that was a thing in contention with him or Carlton. Honestly, Carlton kind of getting a short end of the stick everywhere now. Like, I understand they're playing it up as Carlton's mature, and he's like, I'll take the competition, but damn, Will, like, he been waiting for this for how long, and now it's like, now you want to come in and try to. He was like, I will win. He was like, I'm coming. It wasn't even like, he was like, I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna do what I gotta do. I know that it was written as friendly banter, but to me it came across still like, Will, like, he can't be an asshole. Like, you don't even really want
Like
this
Carl,
that
yeah,
badly.
you don't even know what this award is about. Like,
Yeah, I do. Come on now. And then
research.
and Doc was like, they did this research, but Doc was like, leadership was good for college. I mean, my girlfriend was
that's
like,
all it took.
yeah, she was like, that's obvious. Like, I mean, obviously, like, awards will help you in your college application. Like, you shouldn't need some older mentor to tell you that. But I mean, I get.
Not even just an older man. I was just going, not even older. Older man just saying the basic, I got out the mud. Like, come on now.
I'm telling you, man.
Yeah.
Like, if it wasn't for this podcast, I probably could enjoy Bel-Air just a tad bit better, but because we dissect everything so much, it's like you have to look at like this poor writing and like the poor sequencing and like the weak character plots and everything. So
Most people
man,
just watch it and go about the day. Literally dissecting. Like, why would they do this?
Yeah.
I mean, I think I don't know. I think it could have been translated well on Will's decision to stay in the race. Like, he could have. They should. I don't know. I don't know what it could have been. Maybe a moment where he really realizes that, like, I don't know, he really needs this, or like he can prove himself. Like, he could say, "Man, I just feel like this could help me." I don't know, but just the scene of him just researching to go, "Oh, this could help me with college," and now, like, I mean, that's just to me, that's still kind of selfish. Like, Carlton really wants this. And I know Carlton let it go real fast, and like they ended on like, okay, kumbaya, we got this. But I wouldn't be surprised if Carlton has some resentment in him. It doesn't look like that he did, like, from a writing standpoint. But I hope that, I don't know, maybe they do build up that rivalry some more, because I mean, never forget how I always think about how stuff was always placed for a reason, right? And how there's a lot of stuff that lays the groundwork. So if we go back to season 1, how it ended with Aunt Viv painted the king, Will Smith, with the crown, and that's front and center. And obviously, another thing, that's a little effed up thing to do. You're gonna paint your nephew as the king of the city, but I guess it's fine from a writing standpoint. But yeah, and Carlton's looking at it, and then another thing, Ashley comes over, or someone, I don't know if it was Ashley or was it Hill, but like tells him, you better watch out, like someone's coming for the crown. I'm like, damn, bro, they just going on this man Carlton. But basically, I bring it up to say, yeah, so they put that scene in there for a reason, that Carlton's looking at his nephew, not his nephew, his cousin now, with his crown, essentially. So they put that there for a reason. Now the rest of the show is like, how is that going to play out in real life? And they put that scene post like rivalry they had. Like, that wasn't like episode 1 and then they got over it. This was like after they were already friends. So,
yeah, everything about this episode seemed trying to trigger Carlton to like use it. Like, hey son, I'm replacing you on the football team with this NFL person. Don't feel bad about it. Oh, and hey, this is Will. I'm gonna totally take that Founders Award, that thing you wanted all your career from you. Sucks to you.
Yo, I know y'all probably talked about that terrible drop pass that Carlton did. Like, I'm like, man, I'd have one-handed that joint. I'd have seen my cousin trip. I'd have been like, shit, well, it's game time.
Just Randy Moss real quick, like,
for real. I'd have came and touched on his head. I caught it. Man, ain't no love out there, man. Like, I couldn't believe it. Like, but they just really hyped it up. They showed the cousin on the ground all hurt. You could hear his dad in the background, get up. They called us like, I'm like, man, you gotta be kidding me, man. I'm tunnel vision at that point in time, man.
Yo, Nolan
so man, I'm cutthroat when we get out there on flag football or something like that, man. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
If you know what's good for you, you gotta stay down.
And like, I knew it. I knew when they showed Carl, I'm like, man, if he dropped this pass, that's what I kept. I was like, his dad's like, go long. And I'm like, he literally ran 10 yards. he's right there. We talk about go long. And Carl is like,
you made Bala glasses.
Bruh. Like, I'm just saying, yo, that was not long. That was a small ass, like, y'all, you like go long.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. And he caught, and when he made it look like he got it, and then it threw up. I'm like,
See, I do hope they bring back at some point, the nephew's character. I thought he did a good job. He was cool, and he's kind of like a contemporary of like Will and Carlton a little bit from a different perspective. So it'd be cool if they bring him back for some in the future.
Yeah. Well, since we kind of gone through all the major storylines, let's round back to Nolan. Nolan, we started with talking about Phil's storyline, and he was kind of the crux of this episode, and of course his interactions with Carlton and Will and everything like that, and his sort of obsession about winning the family reunion. Have you experienced yourself any family reunions? Did you think the family reunion storyline was good?
Not since I was a kid, but I do remember them being pretty massive. It wasn't just like one side of the family either. It was kind of like, well, no, it was like my dad's side of the family, but I mean, we had like so many cousins that had their own families and stuff and showing up. It wasn't like how this, and then you had Roscoe's family reunion or something like that a few years back. Martin Lawrence, I can't remember what it was called, but they had like the two brothers, like kind of captain in the teams or whatever. It wasn't like that. We had plenty cousins, plenty families, plenty teams and stuff like that. I was too young to really engage in that. So, I mean, that wasn't really out of the ordinary for me. Food everywhere, games going on. I think we didn't have football. I think it was like maybe like T-ball or something like that they played. So, yeah, it's that was very, realistic to me. Just the overly hyped contest for best tasting food or dessert and the trophy, like I ain't never, that's Hollywood stuff for me. I think more people, I think what they were saying earlier, like spades. I think more people be serious about playing spades than they be about tossing the pigskin around or something like that. But I mean, I definitely have. Actually, last year, me and some of my cousins were talking about doing like a big family reunion in the next couple of years. And I definitely want to have like sack races, football games, stuff like that. Because I've seen that, on shows and stuff. I think that's pretty cool. I feel like competitiveness in Phil is pretty natural. Even before his brother, he's a lawyer. So he wants to win cases. You don't want to be a lawyer that's just half-assing it on the stand, like with your client. So I mean, I think he's naturally competitive, and his brother being there, I think Bill Bellamy was the older brother, if I remember correctly. So it's like you already have that younger brother syndrome, where it's like, now we adults, like I definitely can beat you now. We on an even playing field. So I think that was pretty realistic. Didn't really agree with him having Hillary make the pie, like him trying to win by any means necessary. Like that was a little exaggerated for me, but the competitiveness, I definitely can see that being very organic. Outside of that, I'm trying to really think what really stood out. I mean, I talked about that Carlton catch, man, that was terrible. I can't get past that, man. Like. And then, like I said, I even said earlier, I was like, man, y'all had an NFL dude on y'all team and y'all lost. Like, you don't even. I'm not even looking for Carlton. I'm Megatron in this joint. Like, I just run to the end zone, fade route, just high jump. Ain't nobody over there tall enough to jump with you. Like, that's how I'm feeling, man. So but again, it's a show, man. Like. But I know if we do football like that, it's gonna be some hell on the field. And we drawing a play. All right, you gonna run the fade this way. You gonna give me a counter route this way. Like, hey, we trying to win for sure. But nah. I mean, like I said, overall the show was surprisingly good. I didn't agree with some things. Some things were very low points, like Hillary's situation. I think it was a good lift to all the kind of drama that's been happening the last couple episodes and stuff. Family's always a good thing to have around. And then in the end, like despite the differences, they still sat down and Phil and his brother, giving each other ice and still, ribbing at each other and stuff about things. I think, wasn't this when Phil gave Jeffrey the document on his son, right?
Yeah,
I can't remember if it was
yeah.
last week. Yeah. So
It was
so that was that last week. All I remember was like Jeffrey was like reviewing it, and Will looked at it this
Right.
week. So
That that
I
was
might
this
have
week.
missed.
That was this
That
week.
was this
That was
week.
this
Yeah,
week.
yeah. So that was actually pretty dope to see that they're giving like Jeffrey kind of like a little olive branch at this time. You know, they know what he wants. They understand the importance of a father wanting to be in his son's life, and not trying to take that away from him. And then we actually got to see who it was. So it's going to be interesting to see if that's another character that we meet this season or not, or how far that's going to go. Because I couldn't remember. I was kind of like in and out of the conversation because I think I was doing something at the time. But Jeffrey knows where he's at, so I'm not sure if he's actually going to go visit him or they're going to send for him to come to Bel-Air. But that'll be interesting.
Like they were keeping his whereabouts and everything about him secret from Jeffrey on purpose because Jeffrey didn't want them to tell him, and now he wants to know. And Gyasi was saying that the character who's playing Jeffrey's son has been cast as an actor, a notable actor. So we will see Jeffrey's son at some point in the series. Whether it's this season.
That's gonna be real interesting to see. And then, of course, like, is he gonna move in? They got plenty of room for him to do it. Is he gonna be like another sidekick? You know, another plot that's willing to happen? Because I can't remember on the original show. Didn't Jeffrey have a son that showed up on the original?
Same question. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I want to say. Yeah, it was a scam, right? Yeah, I remember that. I don't think this one is going to be a scam, but it's going to make you wonder, like, will there be ulterior motives? Like, I haven't seen you all my life, Dad. You know, based off his decision that you made, is he going to have some kind of resentment for that? Is that going to like maybe push Jeffrey to like take some time away or something? So I'm definitely interested to see, because we haven't really seen a chink in Jeffrey's armor, right? Like he's been this stoic, get it done by any means, silently, secret agent kind of guy. But we've actually seen him kind of like be flustered, frustrated, concerned, show a level of emotion that he normally doesn't with his character. So I'm definitely interested to see what this does for him when he's actually like the son is in his presence. I'm looking forward to that.
I will say that this show is one thing that they really excel as, taking stuff from the old TV show and really knowing how to like flip it on its head or making interesting stuff out of it. Not just with the main cast of characters, but also with like Lisa's, the Jackie's, the Trey, who was just like a one-off character played by Don Cheadle, to a whole like series arc of him, like Will's father. So I feel like they're going to do something interesting with Jeffrey's dad when he comes.
Yeah.
I mean, Jeffrey's son when he comes.
Yeah. It would have been funny if Doc showed up just randomly.
Oh my God. Plot twist.
I'm everywhere, Will. I'm at all your events all the time.
I am the street.
I'm watching you. All right, well, since we're talking about future stuff, let's go ahead and get into predictions for next week's episode. I didn't look at the preview or anything like that or read what it's about. I mean, what do y'all think is going to happen, just next week or in, any future episode they haven't already talked about?
I think it's going to get back to that Founders Award for sure.
Oh, definitely.
It's going to get back to that. I mean, I don't know how they pick it. I know they have these people nominated. And I guess, like, do the students vote or is the faculty voting? I can't remember correctly.
It's a mix of both. Because Will's got the students vote. That's how he got it. And Carlton got in through basically faculty's, like, nomination.
Right. Yeah, so, Will got the black organization on campus, and then Carlton got selected by the faculty. But like I said, like, it's so many, wasn't like 4 or 5, maybe 6 people name called. So I'm trying to figure out, like, how did they dwindle that down to 1? That I don't think I've gotten clarity on that. So I'm hoping that they explain that if they haven't next episode. I'm pretty sure next episode, for sure, we're going to see Doc. Jackie's probably going to make another appearance. Hopefully that's another thing I want to find out. Like, I hope they don't wait till the last episode to find out, like, what's Doc's ulterior motives. We know there's something there, right? Clearly that's the reason why he did a 180 on bringing Will into the fold, but it just hasn't been clear yet. That's honestly the biggest question that I have so far in this far into the season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, time is ticking, right? It's only so many episodes left. I think they need to get into Doc next episode, because then I think there's maybe 4 episodes left. So after
Yeah.
this one, it's only going to be 3. So this is the next one. They need to kind of dive deeper into that, get his motives out the way, and then we kind of see the rest of the season play out. So say again, Dave?
This was episode 6, so there's 4
Okay.
left.
Okay, yep, 4 left, yep. So yeah, I don't know
think-
what I don't know what else could happen. I think Jeffrey's son is gonna make an appearance before the end of the season, definitely. And Doc's motives, I think, are gonna come out next episode. So I definitely the founders is definitely gonna be a thing too. My prediction is, I think Will lose the Founders Award. I really hope he does. They need to give Carlton a win. Like they need to, or Will wins and Carlton goes back into full villain mode. Maybe that's the case, but I think Will lose. Carlton will win. It will be like a "you deserved it, Carlton, you earned it" type moment, and he can like do that for him. But yeah, that's all my predictions, I guess.
Well,
I would say with me, one big thing I feel is going to happen is, well, besides the Doc thing, I feel like Jazz and Hillary are going to break up. Like the way this is going, it's going to be a messy breakup because Hillary's not doing enough to keep her man, bro. And like Gyasi said earlier, Jazz has been acting kind of selfish, kind of immature about everything. So I think a breakup's going to happen. Something's going to give. Will, I feel like Doc is going to corrupt him, or quote unquote corrupt him, as far as a drama TV show, like All American style, where he has to balance being the basketball player and trying to get the Founders Award. So I think that's going to burn Carlton enough where he's going to go full back to season 1 Carlton. Yeah, shit's going to happen. Ashley, as always, going to get crumbs. Like, see, I can see her doing anything because her big story arc, basically, like I said, and like everyone else said, got glossed over for Will and Carlton. So like, I don't see what else they can give her unless like her professor comes back and be like, you know what, I used to be you, Ashley. Da, da, da. So,
yeah, I think the key thing with this season is, are we gearing for a meltdown similar to the end of last season, right? Are we working towards that breakdown of everything and you had Will bounce out of the house, right? Could we see something like that happen this season where Carlton is pushed to the limit and he leaves the house? He's tired of living in this house. Oh, you like Will so much better. He won the Founders Award and he's the precious son. You want him. I'm out of here. And then he goes with Jazz. Wouldn't that be funny?
Yeah, because you know it's gonna come down to one of them winning for sure, and
Connor
like it's gonna be hard for it's gonna be hard to manage the success and the failure in the same house. Well, I think if Will loses, I don't think it's gonna be that big of a deal. But if Will wins and then Carlton loses, like they already know, like, and you're in the same household, like it's like another like Will's the man once again, but now it's like different because this is, again, as we've already stated, Will didn't even know what this award was. Like this is something Carlton's been gunning for. Like this is his goal. This is bigger than probably the protests to Carlton. This is bigger than any kind of sports,
this
team.
Is everything.
This is what he's after. So yeah, I think this is going to be the triggering point. Like Will's going to win. He's going to see everybody, oh, Will, and but it's going to be his family, right? So, and then of course he already knows the school loves Will, so he's like, damn, like don't nobody really mess with me like that, and it's going to make him spiral. So,
Dang, man,
we should give Carlton's character a little bit more credit. I think he's grown a bit, and I think it's demonstrated even in this episode that, like, even though he's competing with his cousin, like they're okay with it, right? So I think if Will does win, I think definitely Carlton will take it hard, but I don't think it's going to be the breaking point. I think he can handle it. I think there's still
speaking of that Carlton growth, you just made me think about how his cousin, when he saw him, made that joke, like, you haven't grown much either. That's exactly why I would have caught the football And I walked over to him and said, "Looked like you came up short, didn't you?" Hey, I'd be ready for that moment, boy.
See, Dave, I think you're right. Carlton has grown a lot, and just the fact that he was able to miss the catch on purpose. Season 1, he was doing anything to kind of please his parents or make sure that he was top notch. So the fact that he was able to willingly, throw the game just because he knew it was going to mean more to his cousin or to his uncle. I think that's growth. My thing is he is trying, but stuff outside of his control now is like challenging him, pushing him. Like it's a lot of things going on that like the panic attack, the protest, him losing his crush, Will in the Founders Award, his dad replacing him with the NFL player. That's why I think it may reach a breaking point. Not anything Carlton's done, but obviously it's obviously the show is challenging Carlton for a reason. Like they're putting him in scenarios for a reason. So let's see what happens.
Not to mention, like Nolan said, this is something that's everything in Carlton. It's one thing if it's a football thing that's for his dad's approval. It's another thing for something he's been working at for literally since the start of the series. Something he's been trying, because this is his goal to his dream of Princeton. So if he sees a chance for his future, like that's the way. Like I think that could obviously lead to a breakdown or a regression of character, no matter how far it grows. And one thing that's always interesting in TV shows is see how does a character we've seen progress and we followed his arc kind of go back to dealing with season 1 kind of arc. Like what does season 2 Carlton do with season 1 Carlton problems, if that makes sense?
Yeah.
So I feel like it's not going to be like Carlton just leave the house. I feel like it's probably going to be like Carlton might need rehab or something because, it's a drama show. We love drama, everybody.
Gonna have that drama. Yeah, I definitely, with regards to Hill and Jazz, I see that relationship waning or breaking up, but I don't see her going to LaMarcus. I think she's too strong-willed as a person. I don't think just because he wants her back doesn't mean she's going to go back to him. But I do definitely see her and Jazz maybe taking a break and maybe reconvening next season when, of course, they have their second child. And
we're gonna repeat the season 1, they'll break up at the finale, and then episode 1, season 3, they'll be back together. Like we'll live in the house.
Phil's gonna talk to Jazz and get them back together. He's just gonna have that perfect conversational capability to fix all things with one conversation, and by the next episode, they'll be back together.
Like they never left.
Indeed.
Pretty much.
Do you guys watch the show on Peacock, or do you download the episode somewhere else?
Somewhere else.
I Peacock it.
So last season, I may have watched through other means, not disclosing those means, but there was a Peacock 99-cent special for 12 months that I got a little bit ago. So I paid $1 a month. I just watch it on Peacock. Yeah.
Nice.
Oh shit! I would have grabbed that.
Yeah, be telling me the other means, because sometimes I need to have some alone time to watch this episode. Like I can't be watching the family room sometimes.
You better just sign in on you better sign in the Peacock on a different device.
Hey yo, I'm gonna say bootleg it, but you're right. Find them.
Find a login and find the Peacock login and just sign in. But
yeah, I didn't pay for it last season, but I'm paying for it this season. I'm paying for the commercial one with commercials, so I got to deal with commercials. Right. But I'm always reminded because at the beginning of every episode, they start with Will saying okay, everything's changed. Now it's a whole new thing, right? Everything's going back to the way it was. And then I'm reminded of the fact that everything went back to the way it was after the first episode.
Yeah, right.
I don't believe you, Bel-Air.
You're kind of giving cap right now.
The story going. But anyways. All right. Well, that's been an awesome conversation. I just want to know for all of our watchers, listeners, this is the first time that all 4 of us have actually been on the call together.
I was thinking that earlier. Yeah.
Finally. It only took 6 episodes.
and a whole night reschedule,
right? 6 episodes are not even on the day we normally meet. We was all able to do it.
We switched the game up. We're game changers in this podcast.
That's right. Well, hopefully we can keep it going for the rest of the season.
Definitely. I like the dynamic with all us 4. I feel like it's the perfect balance.
Indeed.
Oh,
All
there's
right.
no group like us.
Yeah, facts.
Yeah, me and Dave did that solo one a few weeks back. That was a speed
Wow.
run. That was a speed run. Dave said the topic, and I was next topic. We just kept moving.
Well, that was still a good long episode, even though it was just you.
Yeah,
Had a lot to talk about. You had a lot
yeah.
of great stuff to share about that, so it was good to have. But all right, well, good to have everybody here. Hopefully, we keep it going for the rest of the season for our show.
Yes,
And
sir.
thanks again, everybody, for everything you contributed. Appreciate it. Thank you all for watching. Again, you can keep the conversation going at reddit.com/r/Bel-Air, and leave your comments. Let us know what you think about what we said. If you agree with us, let us know. If not, let us know as well. Want to hear it. But anyways, for Gyasi, Bala, and Nolan, I am David J. Murphy. This has been Saved by the Bell, the Bel-Air After Show, and we will wish you all a good night.